right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of System Shock Radio. As always, I'm your host, Nigel. Oh, unfortunately, got disconnected a couple moments ago. But welcome once again, like I said, to System Shock Radio. Episode 37, of course. And just a couple announcements as we wait for people to come on. First things first, got some new equipment here. And this camera unfortunately does not zoom out, so you will be seeing my head pretty much the whole time. And got a new camera, new headset, new microphone. So if anything happens, if for some reason you guys are not able to see and or hear me, just please do not hesitate to let me know. And also, in the meantime, we got an Instagram page at System Shock Radio on Instagram. We got a YouTube channel as well under my name, Nigel Dixie, where System Shock Radio episodes have been archived, although I think I do have to shoot a couple more Redux episodes. But in the meantime, we are not going to waste any time. I'm probably not going to be a long episode because I don't really have that many topics to talk about. So let's get right into it. And the first thing that we are going to talk about is nostalgia. So what is nostalgia? And how has it been abused in some ways? We'll get to that. But nostalgia definition is feeling or inspiring nostalgia, such as a longing for or thinking fondly of a past time or condition. So, nostalgia, to put it into simple terms, is essentially a longing for the past and a celebration of the past. Now, I feel like nostalgia definitely is a pretty potent, powerful tool depending on how you use it. Because ultimately, nostalgia, it's a celebration of the past, all the good stuff in the past. But when used incorrectly, I feel like it takes away from the present day or the future. So what do I mean by that? I'll give you an example. I'll give you an example of some like good nostalgia, and I'll give you sort of an example of some not as good nostalgia. For a good nostalgia, I will use Disney Plus as an example. I'm going to work with this. So, Disney Plus has all the classic movies that a lot of us watched as kids, a lot of the classic TV shows that many of us watched as kids. However, Disney also has the new stuff on there, the new movies, new TV shows, etc. So it has the past on there. It celebrates the past, but it also has the present day, and it shows what the present day is like, and it's not using the past as a crutch. And it's now for some bad nostalgia, and I'll also use Disney. All the remakes that they're doing, the live action remakes of their old cartoon Disney movies. Because I feel like, it's fine. Some of them are okay, but I feel like when they rely too much on that kind of takes away from present day. Because it's like Disney hasn't released a new movie in a little bit. Frozen 2 came out last year, of course, but it feels like they haven't really been focusing on the newer stuff. They're remaking the older stuff and bringing it over to the new stuff, which, like I said, is okay, but I feel like that you may get what I'm saying. Like, it doesn't really what's a good way to put this? I feel like it kind of diminishes a little bit from the present if you're just focusing on the past. And I feel like they're definitely not the only people guilty of it, as well, as we'll look at in our next topic for this video. But so nostalgia, when done right, can be effective and can show, the past was great, but the present and the future is also fantastic and possibly even so much better. And we're moving towards the present and future. We're looking towards the future. But when it's used wrong, it's just you're focusing too much on the past and using it almost like a crutch. But let me know what your stance is on that. Do you agree, disagree? Hey, feel free to let me know. I'd love to hear from you all. But next up, we're going to talk about The Undertaker. So, as many of you might have seen, last Sunday, The Undertaker officially retired, gave his official farewell retirement speech at Survivor Series 2020 this year, and honestly, it's probably not the send off I think he would have liked. He probably would have preferred like all like the people there. No, they do have the people in the Thunderdome and everything, but like the live audience, unfortunately, WWE doesn't have access to because of COVID and the pandemic and everything. But to see the Undertaker finally ride off into the sunset and officially retire. It was definitely bittersweet. Me and my dad watched it at the end of Survivor Series, and it was such a beautiful send off. They gave him his moment, his time in the ring. They showed the hype package and everything, and all the fun, fantastic memories that many of us have had with the Undertaker growing up. Now, I'll share my personal experience, and I'd like for you all, if you have them, to share your personal experiences as well. I didn't really get too much into wrestling until around 2007, 2008. That's when I started like really watching Raw and SmackDown, and I remember the Undertaker. And this is back. This is before modern day Undertaker, where he was like very slow. Undertaker was still, well, he wasn't at his peak, from what I've been told. His peak was like the Attitude Era Undertaker, but this was still a pretty, very mobile, very powerful Undertaker. And I remember he had that presence about him that made you pay attention to him. It almost felt like he commanded a room whenever he was in it, and he feuded, of course, with Edge at the time, him and with Batista and whatnot, and that was just so cool about the Undertaker is he was that type of guy, like, to where you noticed him and paid attention to him. He was well respected in the locker room, from what I've heard. And what's crazy is all the years. So Undertaker has been wrestling for 30 years. In fact, that was the tagline for Survivor Series 2020 was 30 years on the Undertaker. Or I have been alive 2/3 of his entire career, but that was the tagline. And in those 30 years, think about how many WWE or WWF, either one, superstars have come and gone since then. Stone Cold Steve Austin, Hulk Hogan, Bret Hart, Yokozuna, even modern day stars like Edge, Christian. Well, I shouldn't say modern day stars. Or later on stars, I should say, like Edge, Christian, Shawn Michaels as well, and of course modern stars like Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns, Dean Ambrose. He was there for all of them, and it's just crazy that he was there that whole time, and all the people that came and went from WWE, WWF, and he always remained. And I feel like that's why he got as much respect as he did, and why he earned the send off that he did at Survivor Series, because he was so loyal to Vince McMahon and to WWE, and was such like a loyal person in the locker room, and he stayed that entire time, never left, and that's why they gave him so much. They gave him the streak. They gave him championship reigns, and he got such a huge send off when he finally did ultimately retire. And of course, the WrestleMania streak, he is one of the biggest things in professional wrestling because of him, and he's the person who owned. I feel like Undertaker really owned the gimmick that he was given. He really owned that persona. Now, of course, whereas on wrestling, it's usually an act, but he really owned it and had, like I said, that presence about him to where he sold it. And I remember he was my grandmother's favorite wrestler. He was my favorite wrestler growing up. And what's weird is my grandma was such a big fan of him. And Grandma Ba, as we used to call her, she passed away, unfortunately, in 2014. And then a few months later at WrestleMania 30, The Undertaker lost us for the first time at WrestleMania to Brock Lesnar. And honestly, I'll kind of give you the Cliff Notes version of that, because in all honesty, Undertaker and Brock Lesnar and the whole streak ending is a topic within itself. But I feel like Brock Lesnar, when he ended the streak, we weren't mad necessarily that the streak ended. And in many ways we felt like it was going to end eventually, but with Brock Lesnar, it's like, why Brock Lesnar? He was a part timer. He wasn't there full time. I mean, even Undertaker showed up more than him. Like, why Brock Lesnar? I feel like, but nevertheless, Undertaker got so much. I have so much love and respect for him, and I'm glad he's finally got to retire and finally gets to rest, and finally gets to finally, like I said, had rest after so much uh, dedication to the sport of professional wrestling, and like I said, what a amazing send off, and of course, the superstars, there's the wrestlers that were there in support of him as well, but also the hologram of Paul Bearer that almost got me. Nowadays in modern times I don't cry as much as I used to. I remember I used to be a big crier when I was a kid. I don't cry as much as I used to, but that almost got me. I'm not gonna lie, that almost got me. And nevertheless, we're going to move on. I feel like I've gushed about Undertaker enough already, but just an amazing performer. Thank you all. Thank you for all that you've done, Undertaker. If you're watching this, which you're probably not, thank you so much. But finally, our final topic, like I said, not really a long video, is going to be expect the unexpected. What does that mean? So looking it up, I found that expect the unexpected means to not be surprised by an unusual event. Anything could happen, and probably will. So I feel like that says to be prepared for anything, and when you're prepared for anything, and of course, in this lifetime, anything can happen. And I feel like that's kind of been the whole. I feel like that's the whole slogan for 2020 is anything can happen, and it seemed like pretty much anything and everything did happen this year. We got hit with COVID. We got hit with all this stuff going on. Really expect the unexpected. It oftentimes, how many times have you said to yourself, "This will never happen. This is not possible," and then it happens and it's possible. We'll always expect the unexpected and always be prepared for anything, because anything in this lifetime can change on a dime. But that's gonna do it. No riddle for today. And actually, I want to poll the audience really quickly. Do you want me to continue on with the riddles? And I'd love to hear your feedback. And I'd love to hear your feedback for any of the topics I talked about in this video. Thank you all so much for tuning in, and I will see you all next week. Peace.